or what to think. It's free judgment that is important, and it is right to work for those values that you want to sustain and you want to keep. Now, with property rights, the right to life being the source of all rights, and the right to property being the implementation of it, without property, no other rights are possible. Your life and your body is your property. It is your property. Bear in mind that the right to property is a right to action, like all the others. And since the source of property rights is the law of causality, and all property and all forms of wealth are produced by your mind and your labor, your creativity, your ability, you cannot have effects without causes. So you cannot have wealth without its source, without intelligence. And of course that means that you can go out and work. You should be able to buy property, and then you own it, all of it, the allodial rights to it. So the right to property means that a man has the right to take economic action. Whatever economic action is necessary for him to earn that property, go out and buy it, to use it, to dispose of it. It does not mean that others must provide him with the property, and it doesn't mean that he needs to have the government steal that property away from him because they want to declare it wetlands, dry lands, whatever. The government really does not have any business sticking their nose in seizing your property. Now my president, your president, asked me a question directly. The question that he asked me was, how dare you suggest that we in the freest nation on earth live in tyranny? How dare we? Now let me come here to a memo that was just handed to me that is floating around now in the form of a House bill. House Bill 1544. No, before I get to that, let me go to this. Here is a teletype, RE paranoia among militia groups warning to law enforcement personnel that's traveling the airwaves now, the electronic waves around the country. To all law enforcement people. Distribution Lower Peninsula from Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, Washington, D.C., to all federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. AFT intelligence information suggests, this is an oxymoron in there somewhere. Intelligence information suggests that the Oklahoma City bombing may have heightened paranoia levels among various militia groups across the United States. Information suggests that this bombing may have been or may have been seen as a staged terrorist attack by the federal government as part of an overall plan to declare martial law and suspend the Constitution. See, they already got lines. But now comes the spin. See, now it's the spin doctrine. So in addition, many groups will be extremely despondent over the arrest and investigation of militia members and may consider the situation desperate. No. Many of these members feel that an attack on them is imminent and have already gone into an alert status. These groups have been known to mobilize and arm themselves for the purpose of obstructing law enforcement action against other militia members. Due to this, all law enforcement personnel are warned to take extreme caution when contacting any known militia member or affiliates. Well, I certainly would hope they wouldn't be stupid enough to try to pull another Waco or a Ruby Ridge. They got it about half right. That's one of the reasons. They don't seem to really clearly understand the picture. That's one of the reasons that many of us are on a state of alert. But the alert means they call us paranoia. Any man who has been in warfare, any man who's been in the jungles, any man who's crawled on the ground, any man who's stayed in water, hiding behind a block of wood for 18 hours and couldn't get out. Any man who's walked along, stumbled across people who have been killed, murdered, wiped out. Any man who knows that the next bullet could be his, have his name on it, is a man who understands how to heighten his sensitivities, his alertness, state of alertness. He sees better. He hears better. He smells better. He can actually smell the enemy. He feels everything. The hackles on the back of his neck will go up. He knows when to drop if he has this heightened sense of awareness. In the martial arts, it's called focus. It's called satori, enlightenment. You can train to this level. Special forces people train to this level. Most of the others don't. They don't take it seriously. And unfortunately, because they don't take it seriously, we get a lot of men killed when we go into combat. Now there is that. They don't understand that this is not paranoia. That this is just a heightened state of alertness. Here's something else they don't understand. You would think that the politicians would say, well, maybe these guys have a point here, since we're listening to what they're saying. They're saying we don't want a revolution. We're not trying to create a civil war. We don't want to overthrow the government. We want it back on track. We want the constitutionally limited republic this is supposed to be. So what do? They get busy in Congress. Here's H.R. 1544. And H.R. 1544 wants to prohibit the formation of private paramilitary organizations, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled. This act may be cited as the Domestic Insurgency Act of 1995, Section 2, paramilitary organizations. In general, whoever knowingly participates in a paramilitary organization shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. As used in this section, the term paramilitary organization means two or more individuals acting together, organized in a military or paramilitary structure, who knowingly, 1, possess firearms, explosives, incendiary devices, or other weapons or techniques capable of causing injury or death to individuals, or 2, before I even get to 2, I go back to the days when I was a kid on a farm, and my grandfather had explosives to blow tree stumps. Good grief! I told you the story about how, as a coal miner, they used to have these graphite lamps, and the lamp you would burn in the wick would be set in graphite. Well, you could take that graphite, and if you urinated into a bottle of graphite with graphite in it, kids would throw it in the air and watch it explode. So you had explosives. You certainly had a lot of explosives in farmlands. That's number one. But supposing you and I decide we're going to go hunting now. I want to do some pheasant hunting. Before I do the pheasant hunting, though, scrap the pheasant hunting. I want to do some rifle. I want to do some target shooting. So we're out there. We have a couple of guns. These are all military weapons. These are all weapons of